I have a query. What is 2026's most anticipated event right now? Is it a marathon? The location of the most bizarre world records ever set, with a focus on Sebastian Saw's 1:59:30 from this year's London Marathon. A special thanks goes out to Femke Bol, who finished his first marathon in under 2 hours. Could it be some of the greatest talent in history competing in the men's 800? Nevertheless, the 17-year-old Cooper Luckenhaus is defeating global and Olympic champions. Perhaps you're feeling the excitement from the women's 200 meters, where 4 different women are currently competing in times of 21.7 seconds or less. In the half lap, the year goes by extremely quickly. This season has seen a lot of events reach new heights of excitement, and I am excited to watch how they all play out at this year's World Ultimate Champs. However, the women's 800 meters is one of the events that is truly creating history. Because we are witnessing something this season that hasn't happened in 40 seasons. Additionally, there is a real possibility that the oldest world record in all of athletics will soon be broken given the talent pool that is now competing in the women's 2 laps. Keely Hodgkinson of Great Britain, who just broke the indoor 800 world mark with a pace of 1 minute 54, competed in the women's 800 at this year's Stockholm Diamond League competition. 87 seconds, which was over a full second faster than the previous record, which had stood for over 20 years. Keely was in excellent shape going into this year's outdoor season, as demonstrated by her performance. Additionally, it seemed quite likely that she would soon set the formal world record given her indoor record. To everyone's amazement, Swiss competitor Audrey Wau defeated Hodgkinson in this race, making history as the first woman to run sub 1 minute and 54 seconds since 1983. An event that had been stalled on a single performance over 40 years ago had now been reborn thanks to this nearly legendary barrier breach. Lastly, there was discussion about a real attempt to set a world record. Additionally, 2 other competitors at this year's European Championships are proving to be formidable opponents to the world record, even though Audrey Wau has been leading the charge with some of the most remarkable times ever run in this event. Additionally, there is a possibility that they will prevail. First and foremost, there is Keely Hodgkinson, the athlete who broke the world record indoors earlier this season. Additionally, Hodgkinson has essentially accomplished everything when it comes to major achievements on the greatest stages. The world record has been broken by her. The Diamond League final was won by her. Additionally, Hodgkinson won the 800 in 2024 with a time of 156.7. Hodgkinson simply always appears to be competitive in whatever event she competes in. And in the semi-finals of this year's European Championships, that proved particularly true. Because she set a lightning time for the first round of running with a time of 157.2. She was in the lead for much of the whole race. She broke through 457.3. She split between 127 and 600 meters. Hodgkinson's final 200 was an utter walk, and she was clearly at ease as she crossed the finish line, indicating that she is definitely capable of running quicker. Hodgkinson's prospects of making it to the final are undoubtedly improved by this kind of performance. This also applies to Audrey Wau, who looked incredibly smooth over the semi-finals' final 100. The rest of the field was simply withering behind her, despite the fact that she appeared to be very effortless. Wau put on another outstanding performance in this semi-final, running a 157. Except for the final, this kind of time is not anticipated for any race. However, athletes in 2026 are actually that quick. You need look no farther than heat number 2, though, if you're searching for an athlete that appeared the smoothest and most at ease for the semi-final. Because the world record holder for the indoor 400, Femke Bol from the Netherlands, participated in this race. She is also among the all-time great 400 hurdlers. However, her recent switch to the 800 has been incredibly successful, as she has already hit a 155. And just take a look at how effortlessly she navigated these 2 windy laps in the semi-finals. She maintained her form incredibly well and looked like an experienced veteran in this 2-lap race with Hodgkinson and Bol, even though it appeared as though she was actually jogging. She won with a 159. There is a lot of excitement surrounding this year's European Championships Women's 800. Additionally, some believe that the world record in this event will eventually fall because of the abundance of talent on the track. The current women's world record is 153.28, which was set in 1983 by Jela Kratviva. In all of athletics, this is the longest-standing world record. Katovila nearly didn't even race in this event due to an injury scare, which makes the fact that she ran a world record even more absurd. The story behind it is absolutely weird. However, she won the 400 meters at the World Championships with a time of 47 just 2 weeks after setting this world mark. 9-9 was one of the most amazing weeks in sports history. It's true that a 153.28 is quite quick. And since there won't be any pace setters at this year's European Championships, it might be a little bit beyond the athlete's reach. The Women's European Championships record in the 800, which really dates back to 1982, is another record that I believe is very much possible, even though this would be an absurd time to run. Olga Minva seized the lead on the last lap and maintained her strong front running throughout this European Championship record. She won this race in 155.41. Additionally, this record has been at the top of the European champion rankings for a longer period of time than Kratviva's world record. I believe that this European champion's record is eventually going to go, which would be fantastic, as it is more than 2 seconds slower than the official world record, and both Hodgkinson and Werro have already raced quicker this year. Not only would it eliminate a period that has existed for almost 40 years. However, this would indicate that there is strong momentum in shattering records that has been held since the 1980s, which would put Hodgkinson and possibly Keely Bol even closer to the world record. However, once more, the absence of pacers in this race is the sole issue. Therefore, someone will unavoidably need to go to the front and set a respectable pace during the first 400, running between 57 and 58 for the first lap and then closing with another 57 or so for the final 400, if they do want a fast time. I am inclined to believe that Hodgkinson or Werro could be somewhat willing to go out strong for the initial 200 based on what we saw in the opening heats. In the opening 200 of the semi-finals, Hodgkinson split a time of 27 without barely exerting herself. In this instance, it would be ideal if either Wow or Hodgkinson could exchange the lead throughout the first 600, leaving the final 400 to be a full-on sprinting match to win. To be honest, I think Wow, Hodgkinson, or even Keely Bol could time trial a 155. For, right now, their form is indeed that good. However, in championship running, strategies frequently take precedence above time expectations of any kind. We'll simply have to wait and see what transpires. Given that she has run a 153 this season, I believe that has to be the favorite for the championship. Additionally, I believe that Keely Bol is likely to win the medal, while Hodgkinson is favored for the silver given her times and indoor world record. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this women's 800 final and their quest for the world record. What do you anticipate happening in the championship game? Who do you believe has the best chance of winning? What time should we anticipate the European Championships this year? I appreciate everyone watching. Until the next occasion.